Hello, I'm Bernard Hickey from interest.co.nz and welcome to a special economic weather report brought to you in association with ASB. Today we look at the sharp rise in the New Zealand dollar overnight. It's now up to 54.4 US cents. It's up 11% inside 8 days and back at 3-month highs. But it's not because the New Zealand dollar has suddenly become popular. This is all about how unpopular the US dollar has become. The trigger for this was the US Federal Reserve's announcement overnight that it plans to buy 300 billion US dollars worth of Treasury bonds. Now, why is this important? This is a sign that the Fed is printing money. To buy those bonds, it's essentially cranking up its spreadsheet to create the money out of thin air to buy these bonds, and that's being pumped into the US economy. Some people are worried this will create inflation down the track, and the US Federal Reserve will have to be very careful to stop printing the money just at the right moment before the economy catches fire. Now, there's often this phrase that people talk about central bankers taking away the punch bowl from the party just as it's getting going. And that's what the US Federal Reserve will have to do. The markets, however, are distrustful. They think inflation in America will devalue the US dollar. And that's why they're pushing down the value of the US dollar versus other currencies. In particular, they've pushed it down against the euro. That's because the European Central Bank hasn't started printing money. Others have. So we've got the Federal Reserve, the Bank of England, and the Bank of Japan are all printing money now. However, New Zealand isn't. Alan Bollard told a parliamentary committee last week that he was very worried about nasty inflation pressures building because of this sort of money printing. Now, elsewhere on the markets, the long-term US Treasury bond yield fell very sharply from virtually 3% to 2.5% inside about 15 minutes. Now that is obviously a sign that the markets believe the US Treasury will, the Federal Reserve will buy these bonds back, and that will push the price up and the yield down. Also overnight, the Bank of Japan announced it would be buying back $18.3 billion worth of its government's bonds every month. Again, more money printing. So what does it mean here in New Zealand for interest rates and for the currency? Well, as the Fed continues to print money and devalues the US dollar, our New Zealand dollar will rise against the US dollar, at least over the next few days anyway. And long-term interest rates, will they follow US interest rates down? I don't think so, because our Federal Reserve is not printing money to buy back these bonds, at least not yet. And the feeling I get listening to Alan Bollard, he's not that keen. He is worried about the inflationary risks. There we have it, a special economic weather report brought to you by Bernard Hickey here at interest.co.nz in association with ASB.